State regime media, which calls itself Fox, was panicking on air over Donald Trump's surrender to Iran. Donald Trump now saying that he is, quote, low-keying his interactions with Iran and that it shouldn't even be perceived as negotiations. It is a semi-negotiation. Meanwhile, Benjamin Netanyahu is threatening, well, if you're low-keying it and engaging in a semi-negotiation, Israel intends to strike Iran without you, Donald, or are you going to join us? Yep, the war criminal Netanyahu trying to, once again, bring the United States into this catastrophic war in Iran. Also, Netanyahu said, while you, Donald, are semi-negotiating and low-keying it, Israel is also not agreeing to the so-called Board of Peace Gaza proposal, where you announced that there is a peace deal in Gaza. Israel will not be joining that, Donald. And then Donald Trump's response is, well, I don't really care about that either, even though I announced it 2 weeks ago. That's just Bibi posturing for the election in Israel. Now, while Donald Trump is doing all of that, you also have the Houthis aligned with Iran, striking deep within eastern Saudi Arabia. I note that Donald Trump over the weekend was throwing a live Saudi Arabian golf tournament sponsored by Aramco at the Bedminster Golf Course, which was interesting because the Aramco facility in eastern Saudi Arabia was struck hard by the Houthis. Also in northern and other areas of Yemen, the Houthis struck hard at the Saudi interests there. Don't even get me started on the Strait of Hormuz, where every day this past week, Iran has hit tanker after tanker, including on Sunday night. Right before the futures markets open, Iran struck yet another tanker on the Oman side in the Strait of Hormuz. They did that the day before as well with an ADNOC tanker, Abu Dhabi National Oil Company tanker. It's been ship after ship. So, with all of that taking place, what is state regime doing? So they get extra deranged when Donald Trump surrenders. Oh, especially as the economy right now is absolutely horrible with that jobs report that came out on Friday, which state regime media Fox wants to pretend, well, it's actually a great report. All the CEOs say this is going to be amazing. But state regime media gets extra deranged with these Trump surrenders. So what their coverage was this weekend, I kid you not, was Donald Trump's hair, and they try to create this kind of fake controversy that they then call out the libs for. They're like, the libs, all they've been talking about is Donald Trump's hair. But we all know that Donald Trump has incredible hair. And then these state regime media hosts have to further beclown themselves by saying, I wish I had hair like that. There's the libs, the left, whatever, social, whatever you're saying. No one really gives a crap. It's just weird that Donald Trump is walking around with this bizarre rug-looking thing on his head that just looks different. That's it. No one's obsessing over it. Nobody cares. It's just an observation that you have this psycho wearing this bizarro wig, or what appears to be that, running around behaving like a lunatic and saying the most outrageous and offensive and dangerous things while people are suffering. That's it. That's the point. No one's like, oh my God, did you see his hair? Oh my God, did you? No, it's just y'all are obsessed with him. So that was one of the main things that state regime media was focused on. And then also they're like all in on the culture war involving the WNBA player Sophie Cunningham. And then you have these like right-wing basketball players who are out there now saying that they're going to take part in the WNBA draft because these male basketball players who are like 6'10" and 7 feet, they go, well, I now identify as trans, so I'm going to do the WNBA draft. And it's like, why are you engaged in such performative behavior for the sake of the culture war to get attention in order to bully transgender people? I mean, it's just, and then state regime media was all in on that. And then like every time Sophie Cunningham, this player, gets fouled, they're like, oh my God, they fouled her. And then they have like the Republican Attorney General from, I kid you not, the Republican AG from Florida is like, well, if the WNBA plays in Florida and there's a foul like that, we're going to arrest the players who fouled Sophie Cunningham for assault, because that's the justice that we hand down in Florida. I don't know, maybe focus on people's, electricity costs, utility costs, maybe focus on people's property taxes, maybe focus on the fact that it's impossible to insure people in Florida, the cost of living. No. It's getting close to midterms, folks. Donald Trump is surrendering. The economy is in shambles. So state regime media all in on the culture wars, everybody. I want to break down for you the brainwashing and the tactics that are used so you can see it, because you may be a former Fox viewer, probably not, but you may be, and it's not just state regime media Fox. It's this whole ecosystem that wants to divide us, because when we're united, we can call out the fact that what's really taking place is you have a Trump regime and this right-wing oligarchy that wants to take from us and take more, and basically have a form of social welfare for the billionaires while they screw over everybody else. And then they scream communism, socialism, because people want affordable and free healthcare and education and affordable housing, and not have their healthcare ripped away and not have data centers in their backyard. So let me show you what's going down here. So on State Regime Media's show, this is a segment that they ran over and over again. They're like, breaking news. Okay, breaking news. Are you going to talk about how more tankers have been hit in the Strait of Hormuz? Because that's breaking news. Are you going to talk about the Houthis striking in Saudi Arabia, and how even after the so-called Mecca Pact between Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, and Turkey, the Houthis are undeterred and showing that the Mecca Pact may not even be as strong as the paper that it's even written on? You want to talk about that? What you want to talk about? Okay, oh no, you want to talk about the left is furious with Trump's great hair day. And watch how they beclown themselves, these hosts. Here, play this clip.
So Trump has a great hair day and the left goes absolutely berserk. So Trump gave a speech last week and had a magnificent dome of orange hair. And obviously the left, they can't get enough of hating this guy.
Listen, it's TDS gone mad, but have they completely run out of material that now the only thing they can focus on is his hair?
Yeah.
I mean, it's so vapid, the hatred that they have for Donald Trump, but God bless him. He does have great hair. I mean,
yeah. No, it's, and here we've got a couple of them here. Although I don't know that this is a hit on him. The best Trump, huge hair trend, maximum volume, zero gravity, and pure power.
I don't think neither you or I could do that with our hair, though.
No, I would.
Now, this is real from State Regime Media. Florida's Attorney General responds to the vicious foul Indiana Fever star Sophie Cunningham took during her team's game against the Chicago Sky. The WNBA knows better than to play games down here in Florida, because I'll be charging people with assault, says the Florida MAGA AG. And the player was ejected from the game after being handed a flagrant 2 foul. Accused Cunningham and the Fever of benefiting from white privilege. Let's do a culture war, everybody. And then you have State Regime Media Fox posting this. I expect this topic will continue to receive significant attention. WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert sends teams a memo addressing transgender athlete participation after former NBA players Enes Kanter Freedom and Ross White announced plans to enter the 2027 WNBA draft. Engelbert says a task force of team presidents and general managers will discuss the issue next week as the announcement puts the league's eligibility rules under fresh spotlight. Sophie Cunningham has found a surprising ally and talk show host Bill Maher, former NBA player. And this is what they really say. They bring on somebody who's the founder of XXXY. Jennifer Say says something about Enes Kanter Freedom and Royce White are testing the logic of women's sports eligibility. The WNBA is living in 2020. They think they have support for this ludicrous position. I don't even know what you're talking about. What the hell is even going on here? The American people are suffering right now because there is a fascist regime that's out there killing people right now. Killing people by ripping away their health care, by having ICE and Border Patrol on the streets, literally treading on people. Remember all these MAGAs? Don't tread on me, don't tread on me. Except if you're an orange buffoon authoritarian, then it's like, tread on me, baby. Look at that hair. I mean, what a bunch of freaking bootlicking sycophantic idiots. Anyway, here, play this clip.
The WNBA is living in 2020. They think they still have support for this ludicrous position. They're being made fools of right now by the two men, former pro basketball players in the NBA, who are saying, I'm a woman now and I want to play. They're just pointing out the ludicrousness of this whole ideology, and I applaud them for it because it should be laughed at. Men can't be women. That's it. The WNBA, it has a W in it. Like, let's just get back to reality.
Sorry, that makes me so damn angry to see that behavior. Look, if you're in this community, you're paying attention. You know what's happening. And a lot of what's happening, it's directly affecting your Medicare. Plans are being discontinued. Premiums are going up. And the broker you might have talked to probably pushing Medicare Advantage plans, even if they aren't right for you. That's why I want you to know about Chapter. They're the only advisors who compare every Medicare plan in the country. Thousands of people from this community have already used them. One viewer, Kevin in Florida, is saving $2,100 a year. Another, Steven, finally has a plan that covers his dialysis. And for the Meidas Mighty, a call with Chapter is free and takes just 20 minutes. So if you're on the right plan, they'll tell you. And if not, they'll help you find a plan that fits your needs. I want you to know that we've gotten such incredible feedback from the Meidas Mighty about Chapter. Frankly, it is overwhelming, the positivity that is out there for Chapter. And so I'm so glad to be affiliated with it. I'm so glad you're all having great experiences. So call 82 Medicare today to speak with Chapter. That is 82 Medicare, and feel confident in your Medicare coverage. You know, then you have Enes Kanter and Ross White. They go on Fox and Fox and Friends, and they go, right now I'm in my feminine era, everybody. I'm in my feminine era. That's all. I mean, what the hell are these people even doing? But do you see the cause and effect to also Donald Trump, surrender, weak, pathetic, catastrophic war we should never have been involved in the first place. I'm going to semi-negotiate now. I'm going to low kit right now. And then boom, they bring on their freaking culture war and they pour their $1 trillion brainwash disinformation infrastructure to divide us, while they put data centers in your backyard, while they rip away your health care, while the CEOs make thousands of times the money that you're making, while your hard work, you can't even be paid a fair wage, and they just want to divide us on stuff like this. So pay attention to their tactics, because this is what they do to divide us. Here, play this clip of Royce White. Let's play it.
Why are you getting involved, and how did the WNBA even get to this point?
You know, right now I'm just having a blast in my feminine era. I never thought that I was a woman. You know, I've always trusted the science, and I thought I was a man my entire life. But you know, after further review, strong look at my personal preferences, it would appear that I am indeed sometimes identifying as a transgender woman.
And this is the type of stuff they were doing all day. You know, you had a Fox host saying that they're very mad about Sophie Cunningham, very mad. Here, play this clip.
Targeting Sophie Cunningham, and I don't care if the player is white or black, it does not matter. When you do this to somebody, this is horrible for the league. Obviously, this was done because Sophie Cunningham stood up for women, saying that men shouldn't play against women in sports because there is obviously a chromosome advantage, just like you see with steroids, a chemical advantage. And I'll leave it here. Serena Williams, I saw this clip.
Okay, what are they even talking about here? Then you had Maria Bartiromo on Democrats pointing out that the economy is not great. Maria Bartiromo's like, that's just propaganda. It's Democratic propaganda. All of the CEOs that I talk to say the economy's amazing for the CEOs. That these are Democrat propaganda. I'm like, okay, what are you doing here? Here, play this clip.
You know, President Trump is constantly talking about record markets. You mentioned there, rising wages, and what we are still seeing, fewer layoffs. But yet this week already, we're going to be hearing from Democrats about how horrible the economy is. So
yeah, but that's just propaganda. I mean, look, things are going well. And I think we all feel it, right, Griff? I mean, look at where we are right now. You've got job creation. You've got economic growth. You've got $18 trillion of new investment. The president's main priority has been to put America first and get the supply chains back to America so that we're not reliant on, Asia for semiconductor chips, which we need for defense, or, China for pharmaceutical components. So that in and of itself is such a positive for the economy and for growth. So really, everyone's going to say what they want to say in a campaign season. And I expect the campaign season is, ramping up right now. But when you actually look at what's going on, things feel pretty good. I've spoken with a number of CEOs who tell me that business is up strongly. And it has to do partly with the big, beautiful bill.
All right, I won't do. There are some people that don't like my I see some in the comments. Like, Ben, we like these with less impressions. So I won't do that. Sorry if you didn't like that impression. But then you had Kevin Hassett going on state regime media in the morning, and he was asked by the host, so 76% of voters say the economy is fair or poor. When can Americans expect relief? And he's like, it's all Biden's fault. Everything's Biden's fault. Here, play this clip.
Okay, let's start with a couple of polls. On the condition of the economy, what folks told us is 76% of them say it's fair or poor. And when we asked about their personal financial situation, the largest number came in from those who report they are falling behind. We have talked about this before. When can Americans expect relief?
Well, we've already seen that real wages under President Trump, which is wages after inflation, have gone up about $1,000 for the typical American middle-class family and about $4,000 for the typical manufacturing worker or construction worker. And so people are making more money than, they're having to pay at higher prices. But the prices went up so much under Joe Biden, we totally understand why people are still frustrated when they go to the grocery store. I go to the grocery store myself, and I'm just stunned still at the price of beef and other products. But the bottom line is that if you want to have higher welfare for American people, then you need factory construction, you need lots and lots of job creation and machine purchases. And so right now, as an example, we've got 83,000 or so people building new factories in the U.S. because of Trump's economic policies. And we've got the highest investment data that we've ever seen. All the way in March was like the best month ever. So that they're putting machines in the factories. And as those factories turn on, then we're going to have more construction jobs, more manufacturing jobs. And again, those are average wages of $4,000. Under Joe Biden, manufacturing wages, I'm not filibustering, I'm about to end. Under Joe Biden, manufacturing employment went down 233,000 workers, and wages dropped for the typical American family by $3,000. Now we've got to make up, so we're plus 1,000, he was minus 3, but we're making progress.
So.
And that's pretty much their take on everything. It's all Biden's fault. And then they had J.D. Vance go on state regime media, and he's like, well, our expectations are that you're going to see the same amount of oil leaving the strait as before the war. That's what we believe is going to happen. Here, play this clip.
What would an acceptable status quo be for the strait? Well, our expectation is you're going to see the same amount of oil and gas come out of the Gulf that you saw before the conflict started. That is what the Iranians have told us that they are going to do. That's what the entire Gulf coalition wants to do as well. But, you know, we don't trust, we verify. We actually look not at people's words, but at people's deeds. What in the deranged lie, you know, is J.D. Vance? The Strait of Hormuz is closed. Iran controls it. Iran has made it clear that unless the U.S. makes good on what it promised in the MOU, it's not opening up the Strait of Hormuz. That's the reality. That's the reality. So just stop with the lies. The U.S. lost a war we should never have been involved in. And now Donald Trump's trying to leave, and Iran's like, no, you got to pay us if you want to leave. You lost the war. You don't just get to break it and leave and declare a victory. We ain't going to open up the Strait of Hormuz until you fix it. And finally, you had J.D. Vance saying, what's really taking a lot of time is we just want to test out to see if Iran is going to be implementing we would like to see their changes. JD, they're not even talking to you, loser. They're not even You're such a loser that when you say things like that, because Iran knows that it's not even true, they're not even speaking with you. They're talking with Oman, and that's it. And they're not going to open up the strait until you make good on the end. They're not even talking to you. Like, you seem so pathetic. I mean, look, let me be very clear. We should never have been in this catastrophic and unlawful war in the first place. I want to be very clear. I believe Trump is a war criminal. I believe Netanyahu is a war criminal. I believe that moral clarity is important. I also just think if you look at the behavior of these war criminals, not only are they war criminals and genocidal maniacs, but as you see in this catastrophic war in Iran, they're also like losers. Like they can't even. Our Navy sailors aboard the Abraham Lincoln and before that the Gerald Ford weren't getting food. The plumbing doesn't work. The pipes don't work on the ships. Our sailors are suffering. They can't even run the most basic stuff, yet alone the war. Trump can't run the most basics. Anyway, here, play this clip of JD. Remember what it is that we've done here. We've destroyed their nuclear program. We've destroyed their conventional military. We've radically reduced their, what you might call their asymmetric military abilities. And right now we're trying to see if they're willing to make the kind of long-term changes that would be necessary to have a better relationship with the United States. And if not, that's fine too. We're just going to keep on applying the pressure that we can apply.
There you have it, folks. Let me know what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million. Pre-order WTF America, the book I wrote with my brothers. Thanks for watching, y'all. Appreciate you.
Before you go, our book, WTF America, is available for pre-order now. It's the story of how we got here and how we fight our way back. To pre-order, scan the QR code or click the link in the description. Let's do this.